Good morning, Bajinder Kaur ma'am.
Good morning. Can you email me your conference background?
Sure, ma'am. Just give me 5 minutes. I'm sending.
Okay. Thank you.
Bajinder ma'am, Tanya ma'am has sent you.
Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am. Dr. Sanjay ji, Professor Eugene has also joined in. If you can kindly.
Good morning, Professor Eugene.
Good evening, sir. Good morning, sir. Yes, it's
Good
evening
evening.
here.
Yeah. Good evening, Professor Eugene. Hi. Namaskar, Professor Purohit sir.
Tanya ma'am,
हाँ जी sir.
रोहित सर ज्वाइन कर चुके हैं? Has he joined?
He was here, but maybe I'll just check up. Just give me a second.
By what ma'am?
I'll check up.
Please. Good morning, Dr. Kuswinder, sir.
Very good morning, Dr. Sanjay.
Good morning, sir. Just 2 minutes left to start.
Oh, sure.
Thank you, sir.
So Professor Prohit is just joining in a minute's time, and then we can start.
Within 1 minute, we can start the session.
Sure.
Dr. Jugnu, we can start.
ओके सर। नमस्कार, आप सभी को अभिनंदन। A very good morning to all, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and delegates of Ctpd-Con-Era 2024. The second International E-Conference on Educational Reforms and Advancements, organized by the Council for Teachers' Professional Development in collaboration with its organizing partners, K.R. Mangalam University, Gurugram, Haryana, Galgotia University, Greater Noida, Uttar Pradesh, Saraswati College of Professional Studies, Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh, Satyuk Darshan Institute of Education and Research, Faridabad, Haryana, DAV PG College, Dehradun, Uttarakhand, Institute of Teacher Education, Faridabad, Haryana, Thakur Shyam Narayan College of Education and Research, Mumbai, Maharashtra, Sanjay Teachers Training College, Jaipur, Rajasthan, Social Development and Research Foundation, India, and Council for Teacher Education Foundation, CTEF. I, Dr. Jugnu Khattar Bhatia, Secretary Finance and Conference Organizing Secretary, Ctpd-Con-Era 2024, and the Principal of Satyuk Darshan Institute of Education and Research, Faridabad, Haryana, With my co-moderators for this session, Dr. Reena Unyal Tiwari and Dr. Sakshi Varmani Rishi welcomes you to the inaugural session of the 2 days International E-Conference, which is focused on the theme Educational Reforms and Advancements. We are honored, and also it is a privilege to have scholars, thought leaders, delegates, and professionals from across the globe gathered on this platform to explore and discuss innovative changes and future advancements in education. Over the next 2 days, we will delve into cutting-edge discussions, innovations, and breakthroughs in the field of education, covering various aspects such as Indian knowledge system, quality education, online and digital education, equitable quality education for lifelong learners, and sustainable development. As we begin, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to the chief guest of the inaugural session, distinguished speakers, experts, and participants who will make this conference a platform for knowledge sharing and collaboration. Let us now commence the inaugural proceedings. As we continue our gathering today, let us invoke the blessings of the Ma Saraswati, goddess of knowledge, art, and wisdom, for a successful and enlightening conference. It is through her divine grace that we gain the wisdom to learn, to grow, and to create. So I kindly request all the dignitaries and participants to join us for the Saraswati Vandana.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसारपरमा आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणा पुस्तकधारिणीम् अभयदा जाड्यान्धकारापहा हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधतीं पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे तां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदाम्।
Thank you so much. To officially inaugurate our conference, I am privileged to introduce Professor Tanya Gupta. She is the Secretary General, Ctpd, Conference Convener and Program Director of Samavesh Circle and Shiksha Sahastram Circle, Ctpd, India. Ma'am served as a Dean of the School of Education and Dean, School of Humanities and Director, IQAC at K.R. Mangalam University, Gurugram, Haryana. Professor Tanya is a distinguished academic leader and a prominent figure in the field of education. Her dedication to fostering innovative practices and research in education has made a significant impact on countless students and educators. We are incredibly fortunate to have her as our conference convener, guiding us in this journey of knowledge sharing and collaboration. We welcome you, ma'am, on the platform.
Thank you, Dr. Jugnu. Good morning, everyone. Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Dr. Birenderjeet Kaur, Emeritus Professor of Mathematics Education, National Institute of Education, Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. Distinguished academicians and guests, Professor Dr. Gopal Krishna Thakur, Dean School of Education, Director UGC MMTC, Mahatma Gandhi Antarashtriya Hindi Vishwavidyalaya, and the President of Social Development and Research Foundation. Professor Dr. H.C. Purohit, Dean School of Management, Doon University, Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Dr. Eugene Koch, Associate Professor in Leadership, Policy and Governance, Worklund School of Education, University of Calgary, Chair, University of Calgary, Social Sciences and Humanities, Canada. Dr. Khushvinder Kumar, Principal, Khalsa College of Education, Amritsar, Punjab. Professor Dr. Imam Gad, Dean, Faculty of Education, British University in Dubai, and Affiliate Lecturer at the University of Glasgow, UK. Dr. Sanjay Kumar, the President, Ctpd. Our other esteemed guests, organizing partners and delegates to this conference. It's my honor and privilege to welcome you to the second International E-Conference, Ctpdcon-Era 2024 on Educational Reforms and Advancements, organized by the Council for Teachers' Professional Development in association with several premier higher education institutions in India, a 2 days long academic event for the meeting of the minds. The theme of this conference, ERA, Educational Reforms and Advancements, could not be more relevant in today's rapidly evolving educational landscape. Over the next 2 days, we will engage in insightful discussions, exchange groundbreaking ideas, and learn from each other and from the remarkable experiences of our distinguished speakers who are pioneers in their respective fields. I would like to extend a very special welcome to our chief guest, Professor Dr. Birinder Jeet Kaur ma'am, whose wisdom and visionary approach to education will inspire and set the tone for this remarkable event. Welcome, ma'am. Your
Thank you.
presence elevates the significance of this conference, and we are deeply honored that we have you with us today.
Thank you.
We are delighted to welcome our distinguished speakers whose dedication to advancing pedagogy and practice and fostering academic growth will no doubt enrich our discussions. The diversity of thought and expertise that you bring to this platform is invaluable, and we are extremely eager to hear your insights. We welcome you. In the inaugural session, I feel elated that our session chairs and co-chairs have also joined in. I can see Professor Tahir Sufi, who's from the Department of Tourism, School of Business and Economics, University de la America, Mexico. I see Dr. Puneet Rahi. She's a dear friend, and she's at present the Principal Chief Consultant, Samagra Shiksha TSG, DOSCL, Ministry of Education, Government of India. I see Dr. Paresh Shahji, and many more. Thank you so much for joining us in the inaugural session. I'm extremely grateful and I feel blessed that we have with us in the inaugural session Professor Neerja Shukla ma'am, who is the former head at the Department of Education of Groups with Special Needs, NCERT, New Delhi. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us in the inaugural session. To the delegates and the participants joining us from across the globe, your engagement are the driving forces behind the success of this conference. Whether you're presenting papers, participating in the discussions, or just simply absorbing new knowledge, I encourage you to take full advantage of this collaborative environment that we've curated for you here. Let me once again welcome all the organizing circle members, the organizing partners of this mega conference. I welcome one and all here. I earnestly look forward of being educated just as each one of you. Thank you. I wish this conference is a productive and enriching one for each one of us. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Professor Tanya, for that warm and inspiring welcome address. Your address has truly set a positive tone for our two-day international e-conference. Moving further, it is my great pleasure to welcome Professor Sanjay Kumar, President of Ctpd and Program Director at Ctpd India, Conference Convener and Principal of Saraswati College of Professional Studies, Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh, India. Professor Sanjay has been a driving force behind the initiatives of Ctpd, dedicated to advancing educational practices and fostering collaboration among educators and institutions. His leadership has significantly shaped the vision and mission of our organization. Sir, we are eager to hear your address on the goals that guide Ctpd and the path we are embarking on today. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Jugnu. Are you hearing?
Yes, you are
Yeah,
audible.
thank you. Good morning, everyone. It is a great pleasure to be here today to talk about an organization that has become a pillar of support for teachers across India, the Council for Teachers Professional Development, or popularly known as Ctpd India. We are committed to empowering higher education teachers across India. Our mission is to build a strong community of educators, equipping them with the knowledge, skills, and resources necessary to deliver quality education and foster national growth. We are guided by a powerful principle. Let's connect and collaborate to empower teachers. This guiding principle reflects our belief that by fostering strong connections and meaningful collaborations, we can unlock the full potential of educators. Our core strength lies in online and digital education, where we are creating opportunities for teachers to enhance their skills, share knowledge, and transform the learning experiences of their students. Together, through collaboration, we can build a future where every teacher is empowered to lead in a rapidly evolving educational landscape. On our initiatives, we focus on empowering educators and advancing education through a variety of programs. We organize conferences, seminars, and workshops, offering educators opportunity to share insights and stay current with the latest pedagogical practices. Our training programs and faculty development initiatives equip teachers with modern tools for effective classroom management, assessment techniques, and the integration of technology. Collaboration with higher education institutions foster partnership for joint programs, faculty exchanges, and research. Additionally, we publish edited books in National Journal in MOUs to drive collaborative research and projects, ensuring a progressive and innovative approach to education for all. Ctpd India has already impacted more than 10,000 teachers in last 3 years across the country, fostering a culture of professional growth and continuous learning. Teachers who have undergone Ctpd's training have reported improved classroom management, better student engagement, and more personalized learning experiences for their students. Ctpd is committed to promote lifelong learning for teachers, which aligns with the broader goal of providing equitable quality education for all. Through its initiatives, Ctpd helps teachers remain at the forefront of educational reforms and innovations. As teachers, we have the power to shape the future. The Council for Teachers Professional Development stands as a beacon of support for teachers, driving innovation and collaboration. We remain dedicated to empowering teachers through knowledge sharing and skill enhancement. Together, we will continue to shape the future of education in India, ensuring lasting impact and growth for our nation. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Professor Sanjay Kumar. Your leadership and dedication are invaluable to this event, and we are excited to embark on this journey of learning and collaboration. Moving further, it is my great honor to welcome Professor Satyendra Gupta, Member Trustee of Ctpd, Program Director and Board of Mentors at Ctpd India, and Dean, School of Education at Galgodia University, Greater Noida, Uttar Pradesh. I invite you, sir, for sharing the objectives and the expected outcome of this 2 days international e-conference that will guide our discussion over the next 2 days. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Namaskar. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Once again, namaskar to all. Sabko suprabhat and good evening to our guests, those who joined from the Western world. So on behalf of the CTPD Council for Teachers Professional Development, I welcome you once again, all of you in this 2 days international e-conference. So as I am instructed, so I am trying to giving some outlines and what is expected from our participants. So this is, as we know, we are attending today the second international e-conference of the Ctpd that is titled as Ctpdcon-Era 2024. So this is a platform for the thinkers of the educational reforms and advancement. This is our title and theme for this conference that is crucial for the shaping the future of global learning. So in these 2 days, we all will think, discuss, and act for our future educational reforms. Great personalities across the country and out of the India have come together to achieve the goal and guide young generation. So the organizers of this e-conference stand there. We started our planning in well advanced form, and before 6 months we invited the application, or we can say the paper submission by all the participants. And in the end of the July, they all submitted their full paper, and after the screening of the full paper, selected and screened papers allowed to present their papers in this conference. So that the way we designed our conference. And to streamline the conference, that's why we have to shortlist the participants to make it a comprehensive and some valuable addition in our conference. And after this e-conference, definitely we will publish, as Sanjay ji shared, that the books in the form of the contributions of our participants. So that will be the double benefit for our participants. They are presenting the paper at that international platform, and as well as their work will also be published in the form of the edited books. And now I want to summarize some highlights of the conference. So I'm happy to share that in this conference, it has helped us to extend our networking with the international and national educationists, those who have come forward for their contribution for this conference. I extend my gratitude and a big thanks to all of you. In this inauguration session, as you are able to see that we have the personalities from the Western world. From the Canada, we are having our guest from the UAE and from the Singapore. And you will also have the interaction with other persons in the validity section in the next day. At this time, I am also try to summarize the contribution of our paper presenters. So this time we received more than 250 papers, but after shortlisting and as per the our track requirements, so finally we have accepted 197 papers. And these 197 papers are having the authors and co-authors more than 250. Exact number is around 247 plus. So these are the authors and co-authors, those who come with us to present their paper in this national conference. And all of you are also aware that at the end of the conference tomorrow, we will announce some announcements, and the best paper announcement is also there. some awards will be given to our best paper presenters, and we will also award some fellowships and some lifetime awards. Those who are contributing with us and those who have come forward to contribute for the betterment of the teachers in general. So this is the brief from my side. Thank you and all the best to the presenters, and let's enjoy the day and connect with each other and learn from each other. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Satyendra Gupta, for sharing the objectives and expected outcomes of this conference. Your address has provided us with a clear understanding of the path we will be taking over the next 2 days. As we gather for this significant event, it is now time for one of our highlights of this inaugural session, the release of the conference souvenir. This souvenir embodies the hard work and dedication of everyone involved in organizing this 2-day international e-conference and showcasing the valuable contribution of our esteemed speakers, participants, and organizing partners. Let us all join in celebrating this important milestone as we look forward to the insightful discussions and collaboration that await us during this conference. Now, I would like to request and invite Dr. Sakshi Varmani Rishi, my co-moderator for this session, for giving the brief overview of conference souvenir. Dr. Sakshi is the conference organizing joint secretary, associate program director, IKS Circle, Ctpd India, and associate professor, School of Psychology, Rishi Hood University, Sonipat, Haryana. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jugnu ma'am. Alone, we can do little, and together, we can do so much. This souvenir is an example of it. Namaste, everyone. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to a moment that truly captures the essence of our incredible journey. A journey that has brought 15 distinguished international speakers, 48 esteemed experts, 10 organizing partners, and over 197 insightful paper presentations. We have experienced 36 prestigious fellowship awards, and of course, we are here to honor those receiving Lifetime Achievement Award. 46 hours of rich online sessions will be witnessing a vibrant exchange of ideas, breakthroughs, and connections. But today, we celebrate another milestone, the culmination of this grand convergence of minds and spirits is captured in a very special way. It's more than just a collection of words and images. It's a living testimony of what we have achieved together. This souvenir holds within its pages the heart and the soul of our conference, powerful ideas, groundbreaking research, and inspiring stories, and the moments that will resonate long after we leave here today. Each page, the diverse wisdom of our speakers, the dedication of our organizing partners, and the brilliant contributions of every presenter. And there you have it, a tangible reminder of an unforgettable gathering of minds. This souvenir is not just a keepsake, but a beacon of the future we all are striving to build together. Let it inspire you, challenge you, and remind you of the powerful connections forged here. As you leaf through its pages, let the voices of our international and esteemed speakers echo, the passion of our paper presenters linger, and the excellence of our awardees shine. This souvenir is a celebration of our collaboration, creativity, and commitment to excellence. Thank you all for being a part of this extraordinary journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sakshi Varmani Rishiji. Now, moving further, it is my great honor and privilege to introduce our esteemed chief guest for today's event, Professor Birinder Jeet Kaur. She has made remarkable contribution in the field of mathematics education and her leadership and vision have truly set new standards of excellence. Professor Birenderjit Kaur currently holds the position of Professor of Mathematics Education at the National Institute of Education, Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. She has been with the institute since 1989 and is a leader of mathematics education in Singapore. She was the mathematics consultant to TIMSS 2011 and a core member of the mathematics expert group for PISA 2015. Her research involves teaching and learning of mathematics, mathematical problem solving, and development of mathematics teachers. Over the last 3 decades, she has delivered more than 85 research keynote addresses, written or edited over 20 books, and have authored more than 200 peer-reviewed articles. She is the series editor of the Springer Mathematics Education and Asian Perspective book series. Ma'am is also an editor of the 4th International Handbook of Mathematics Education. We are indeed fortunate to have Professor Birenderjit Kaur with us today, and I'm sure that her insights will provide valuable perspective on educational reforms and advancement. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Professor Birenderjit Kaur to share her views with us. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Can I screen share? First of all, I think it's still morning in India, but it's already past midday in Singapore. So whatever it is, my best wishes to everybody who is attending this conference, and in particular, my gratitude to all the organizers of this conference that is so meaningful. I would like to share a few thoughts of mine with regards to the continuing professional development of teachers, that I believe the Council for Teachers Professional Development core business is all about. So although I'm a professor of mathematics education, today I will deliver my message addressed to all teachers, as I believe mathematics teachers are part of the teaching body at large. As I said last year too, at this address to the same conference, which was held, I think, in a month later, October, a lot of research has been done about education systems. Why are some educational systems more successful than others? And the McKinsey report, which has been thoroughly examined by a lot of educators worldwide, have concurred that the quality of an education system cannot exceed the quality of its teachers. The system rests upon the laurels of teachers, and the teachers form the bedrock of the system. So whatever we may like to do, we must remember that teachers are the critical elements of our activity. And I'm very proud and happy to say that your conference has precisely addressed this need in a system. The other thing that struck me about your conference was the duality about reform and advancement. To me, I think this is a circular argument. To advance, we reform. Through reform, we advance. So it is a very beautiful theme that has been adopted for this conference of yours. And upon deeper reflection, I was wanting to actually coherently figure out what would this theme of a conference mean to people who are attending it or others who have decided to present their work at this conference. So I looked at 3 questions. The first is the what, the next is the why, and the last is the how. I probably think you would have realized by now, this is how a mathematician thinks. And my thinking is apparent in the kind of questions I always ask. So the first question was, what do we want to advance in our system? I'm sure the answer to many of my teachers in this conference is obvious. We want to advance our educational practices. The theory may be more attractive to people who are researching and theorizing, but teachers are very practical. They always want practice. So in this conference, I am happy to say that there's a lot that teachers can get, because there are 5 very interesting themes that this conference addresses. And there will be something for every teacher who has come to this conference in terms of to advance an educational practice. Now, the next question would be, just like the question I asked all my teachers in Singapore, why do we want to advance? And it's not easy for my teachers to accept my telling them that we have to advance. It is their own needs that they have in order to meet the rapidly changing world. Sometimes we teachers, we are still a step behind our students when it comes to all these gadgets like the handphones and all the technology. They come to class with something more than us. So there's always this gap that the teachers need to keep abreast with. And so why do we want to advance? We want to advance because the world is rapidly changing. Not because we are changing the world, but because of the whole system, a global system that is moving so fast. So when my teachers are convinced that I have to advance, my practice has to change, then they are hungry for that little bit of knowledge I am able to give them about how do we advance. I think it has been said earlier in today's proceedings that collectively we can make a difference. Individually, we often struggle. So we come together. We come together at platforms like this, at this conference, where we can meet and we can talk and we can glean. And what do? Actually, we are learning hand in hand with everyone in a system. Most importantly, the system must be robust. The system must hold. And in my later slides, we will delve more into that. So I have been reflecting on what is the role of a conference like Ctpd-Con-Era 2024. What role is this conference going to play? Well, if some of you heard my last year's presentation, it was on how teachers professionally develop themselves. And one aspect of continuing professional development is attendance in a conference like this. Attendance here, I need to emphasize, have to be active participation, not passive participation. We have to be active. And when are we active? When we are hungry for knowledge, when we have a problem to solve and we are looking for a solution. All right, so active participation in a conference. What do we do at the conference when we are active? There are presenters at this conference. I'm very happy. You have a large number of presenters who have actually submitted papers that have been reviewed and justified to be of high quality, to be shared amongst the people attending the conference. And in these papers, there are innovative approaches and best practices that are being disseminated and presented. This platform of a conference also fosters dialogue amongst participants. People come from diverse backgrounds, diverse school settings. They all have the same problems, but their problems cannot be solved in the same way. So they discuss, they talk, they ask more questions to the presenter. And in this discourse, they may find some nuggets of gold that they will take back with them. They may also go back more confused, but that's all right. Cognitive conflict is a prerequisite to deeper understanding. Not to worry, you have conflict, that's all right. You will be asking more questions. And in asking more questions, you may find answers. It will also facilitate collaboration. I'm sure attending this conference are not only teachers, they are educators, they are policy makers, they are all the stakeholders. They are all the stakeholders of a system. The most precious system in any country, if I may say, is the education system. It is this system that molds the nation. I mean, I'm speaking from the perspective of Singapore. For us, this is the most important system. All right. So here we will find that there will be plans for collaboration. Perhaps next year, at next year's conference, some of these plans will be disseminated. Lastly, I'm very happy to hear that there is this deep insight into codification of knowledge. We don't want only tacit knowledge. Tacit knowledge is knowledge that resides in individuals' minds. We want knowledge that is codified. Codified knowledge is knowledge that has been put through some rigorous tests through practice. And then it is written up, hopefully, to fuel reform and advancement. We can never repeat the same exactly the same. However, we can always draw on all this codified knowledge to better understand what we need to do next. Now, the next slide is a slide that is very dear to my heart. Having been a math teacher myself for the first 8 years of my life, and a mathematics professor for the next 36 years of my life, and now still doing more work in math education. I have worked with, if I may not say 1 million teachers, maybe almost 1 million teachers, where I've had a hard time convincing them that change is a journey. It's not a destination. Many think that I'll change today and that's it, I'll get there. They may be disappointed. I like to tell them upfront, this change is a journey. Come with me through this journey. We will all find many stops along it, which will be very rewarding, but we will continuously carry on with it. There's no such thing as I've reached a goal. Now, we believe in Singapore that we have to empower teachers. We can't cage them, we can't force them, but we have to give them some space and give them the space to lead and test and try. And teachers in our system, many of them are also mothers and fathers. So what their children bring home speaks volumes to them. So they get a good view of what they are actually doing in the system, because what their kids bring back home is from the system. So they're actually stakeholders. They have a stake. They have a stake in the welfare of the future of Singapore. They have a stake in making sure that we meet our systemic needs of a nation. As many of you probably know, We in Singapore, we are very small. We have a population of only 6 million. We have no natural resources. We rely on our human resource. So we have to give them the best. So these teachers actually are the ones which are most treasured in our system because they are finding solutions to their problems, which are also our problems of the nation. But as I said earlier on, every problem is contextualized in an environment that may be different. Every school in Singapore is a good school, but no two schools in Singapore are the same. So the ecosystem is very important. So my teachers need to work within their system, understand their system, give the best, and try, keep trying. There's no such thing as we've arrived, no, because there's no destination. And lastly, I don't know whether this is a Chinese proverb. As I went to the internet and I found there are claims to it that it is not the Chinese proverb, but as you probably know that in Singapore, we have 77% of our population who are Chinese. And it's very good at times to draw on the teachings of Confucius and other wise people in China. And among the Chinese, this is very common. You give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but you must teach him how to fish. Why? Because he needs to eat for life. So it's the same with my teachers. If I give you a lesson plan of how to teach this, you'll just only teach that lesson. But if I teach you how to plan, if I give you that knowledge, and if I give you that space, you will plan your lessons for life. And that is the kind of goal that we want to aspire to. Now, this conference, as I looked through the 5 strands you have, made me feel like there is a spread of a buffet. You have a very large buffet spread, and there is something for everyone. What particularly impressed me was the Indian knowledge system. I cannot say we have a Singapore knowledge system, no. But I'm very happy that you have very boldly stated upfront that there is an Indian knowledge system. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. I think this is the kind of bold steps we need to take. And I also feel that in this system, there's the past that you want to use to embrace the future. And this is precisely what I said earlier, that we need to draw on the codified knowledge to make sense of what we want to use it for next. Now, quality education for holistic learning. We have done a lot of work in Singapore on holistic learning. The school is one system. The many subjects of the curriculum are the subjects that support the system. And there's a lot of integration now in terms of learning holistically. I suppose you understand STEM, the subjects we need that we are integrating together. We're also integrating humanities with the sciences. Our university courses now are very integrated. There's no such thing that I only want to do the sciences or I want to do the humanities or the arts. They can't survive without the others. And this, I think, is an apt strand that you have. Online and digital education cannot be emphasized more than COVID has taught us to do. COVID was a curse. At the same time, it was a blessing. For us in Singapore, all our investment in online work and digital education came to fruition during COVID. Before that, there was this wait and see attitude. But COVID gave us all the push. No need to wait, no need to see, just go. And I think this is a beautiful theme that you have. Next, I think we dealt on this last year too. Equitable and quality education and life for lifelong learners. A commitment to inclusion. Yes, society is diverse. it cannot be more diverse than what I've experienced in India every time I visit. I would say in Singapore, our diversity may be much smaller. But in India, I think the scope is very large. And to be an inclusive society, I think this is a strand that will give a lot of food for thought for those attending the conference. Lastly, with global warming creeping up so fast, sustainable development, looking at how research, innovation, technology, and disaster management can help us understand how to be sustainable. It's very, very apt. So I must congratulate the organizers of this conference and all of the presenters who will be presenting in one of these themes. Your valuable inputs will go a long way. I'm making an assumption here. The assumption is conference participants are going to be very active. They're going to kind of go grab things and make sense of it. Now, lastly, always remember, Rome was not built in a day. Nothing can be built overnight. If it can be, it will not be good. Trust me. All right. But any journey must begin with a first step. The first step is a difficult step, but it has to be taken. And lastly, I think someone said earlier this morning too about the flame, and I like the little video I saw at the beginning of this conference. I wish I could get that graphic about how the lamp was being lit, because the perception I have here is everyone coming to this conference will take away a little flame with them and keep the flame burning. How do you keep the flame burning? You keep fanning it and keep putting oil in the oil lamp. All right. And these are metaphorical, but I think they are very meaningful if our teachers, our colleagues who are attending this conference do give it a thought. I cannot say more than wishing all of you a very fruitful and enriching experience at this conference. And I'm delighted to be a part of it. And I'm grateful for the little contribution that I can make towards your conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Birendrajit Kaur, for your enlightening and powerful address on continuing professional development of teachers. Your thoughtful approach framed around the three basic questions: what, why, and how do we want to advance has provided us with a clear roadmap for continuous growth in education. The depth of your insight truly encourages us to reflect on the goals, purposes, and methods of teacher development. Your statement, "Change is a journey, not a destination," resonates deeply with all of us. It serves as a profound reminder that professional development is an ongoing process and requiring us to embrace change as a continuous path of improvement rather than a final goal. We sincerely appreciate your wisdom and guidance as we move forward in our commitment to advancing the profession. Once again, on behalf of Ctpd India, I extend our heartfelt thanks to you for taking the time to be with us and for your inspiring contribution to this event. Thank you so much, ma'am.
You are most welcome.
Please accept, as a token of gratitude from the organizers of the conference, this virtual memento. Kindly accept this memento, ma'am.
Yes, thank you very much. I have accepted it. It's beautiful. I would appreciate if you can email it to me.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Moving with the session, I would request and invite my co-moderator for the session, Dr. Reena Unyal Tiwari, ma'am. Dr. Reena is the convener of Track 2, Program Director of Quality Circle, Ctpd India, and Associate Professor at DAV PG College, Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Ma'am, I request you to kindly lead the next part of inaugural session. Over to you, Dr. Reena.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jugnu Khattar Bhatia, ma'am. I always appreciate your support and collaboration. Now let's keep the momentum going. A very warm namaskar and good morning to all distinguished guests, delegates, officials, and participants of Ctpdcon-Era 2024. I'm Dr. Reena Unyal Tiwari, and it is great honor for me to co-moderate this inaugural session of Ctpd India's second international e-conference, along with Dr. Jugnu Khattar Bhatia ma'am and Dr. Sakshi Varmani Rishi ma'am. Further, in this inaugural session of Ctpd virtual conference on educational reforms and advancement, we are fortunate to have eminent educationists from India and abroad as distinguished speakers for the main tracks of the conference. I'm delighted to extend a warm welcome to our distinguished speaker, Professor H.C. Purohit sir, for gracing us with his presence. Professor H.C. Purohit is currently Dean School of Management, Dean Students Welfare, Doon University, Dehradun, Uttarakhand, India. Professor Purohit also held the office of Registrar and Head of Department, School of Management, Doon University. Before joining Doon University, Sir has also served as Dean, Faculty of Management Studies, Proctor of the University, and Media Coordinator at VBS Purvanchal University, Jaunpur, Uttar Pradesh. His teaching and research interests include marketing management, consumer behavior, marketing research, and strategic management. Sir has to his credit more than 60 research papers published in national and international journals. He has presented more than 100 papers and has chaired the sessions and delivered keynote lectures at various conferences. Professor Purohit has also conducted various programs and research studies under the funding of ICSSR and UGC India. He has been awarded the Best Business Academic of the Year, Gold Medal 2022 by the Indian Commerce Association. He has also been conferred with the Dean of the Year Award 2022 by the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand and Professor Manubhai Shah Memorial Research Award. A warm welcome to you, sir. इस आभासी मंच पर आपका हार्दिक स्वागत और अभिनंदन है. Now may I request Professor H.C. Purohit sir to address the attendees on topic Quality Education for Holistic Learning and its relevance to educational reforms and advancements. Sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much for inviting me to this very, very prestigious conference, Ctpdcon-Era 2024, second international conference, which is based on educational reforms and advancements. And I'm going to share my views on quality education for holistic learning and its relevance to educational reforms and advancements. I hope my slide is visible to all the learned delegates and colleagues across the globe. I'm delighted to hear the very, very important views of the organizers, as well as the Honorable Chief Guest Madam. And it was really very, very enlightening and eye-opening to all the academicians and participants. Thank you very much for this, making this morning very useful to all the delegates, especially me also. Thank you very much. When we go to before starting, we have to look into the backdrop. Our first Prime Minister, Pandit Nehru, was addressing a convocation address of some universities in India. And he said that university stands for humanism, tolerance, reason, progress, ideas, and search for truth. So this is the basic objective, whether we are in search of the truth or not. It stands for the onward march of the human race towards even higher objectives. If the universities discharge their duty adequately, then it is well with the nation and the people. But if the temple of learning itself become a home of narrow bigotry or petty objectives, how then will the nation prosper or if people grow in the stature? So we need to develop institutions of learning in that manner where we can, prosper the society as well as the people of the country. The main values of secularism, socialism, democracy, which are contained in the preamble, are carried out through our education policies. The future of India rests on it. From a focus on industrialization and technical skills during early liberalization to the inclusion of soft skills in National Education Policy 2020, the nation has come a long way because we are talking on the advancements. So advancements are not one-time development. It continues with the pace of time and advancement in science and technology. Although Indian literacy rates have increased, several remain uneducated due to poor quality schooling systems. We need to strengthen the schooling system also to ensure 100% literacy in the society. Seeing the evolution of learning and development through evolution of policies and schemes can provide insights into shaping future agendas. That is very important. After independence, we have chosen industrialization because during British regime, the industrial pace of industry development was not as we were expecting as in terms of the population growth. The ratio was quite reverse. So this industrialization has created a demand for workforce with technical skills. And thus the University Education Commission was established, which later, now we know this Education Commission as University Grants Commission. And Radhakrishnan was given the responsibility to head the University Education Commission. The overall aim of the commission was to establish universities and would provide knowledge and wisdom for holistic development, including personality. So that was the objective. In 1952, Lakshman Swamy Mudaliar, a panel for secondary education was constituted, and the commission proposed a flexible reorganization having schools that were inclusive of children's unique aptitudes and were accommodating to the children's interests. So child-centric, considering the psychology of a child during schooling was the main focus of this commission. Specialized streams were introduced in higher secondary schools to prepare students for higher education and vocational routes. Simultaneously, the National Commission on Women's Education, chaired by Srimati Durgabai Deshmukh, gave much emphasis on female education in rural India. That was also the objective of the government, to empower and to educate women. The National Education Policy, as articulated in 1968 and 86, formed a basic platform for bridging disparities in educational opportunities by the provision of equal opportunity and scholarships, including reservations for less privileged communities. So the marginalized section, how to bring them in the mainstream was the basic objective. Consequently, the various initiatives that were taken include Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, which was introduced in 2001, with the objective of universalizing elementary education with a special emphasis on disadvantaged groups. While the Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya program initiated in 2004 aimed at improving education for girls from rural areas. So that was these are the initiatives and advancements continuously after independence being taken by the government, different governments time to time. The new wave of reform consists of National Education Policy 2020, which promotes equity and inclusion with a focus on filling educational gaps through initiatives like the scheme for providing quality education in madrasas and Eklavya model residential schools, among others. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao campaign, which encourages girl child education and goes on to provide scholarships based on merit to deserving students from poor families, is also the very flagship program and very, very appreciable initiative taken by the government. During COVID-19 pandemic, PM eVidya channel helped in remote learning, displaying resilience amidst crisis. But concerns have never ceased, such as poor implementation strategies or lack of infrastructure. These policies have come a long way in promoting quality education. There is still much to do in improving the learning environment and implementing infrastructure developments. By 2023, by 2030, India will have the largest number of young population in the globe. A population size which will be a boom only if these young people are skilled enough to join the workforce. Quality education is will play a major role to train our young minds. But the current state of education faces major challenges like lack of adequate infrastructure, particularly in school education and in rural and far-flung areas of the country. Low government expenditure on education and as per the Unified District Information System for Education, UDISE, the teacher-taught ratio is also very poor. It is 24:1 ratio. So need to be improved. The main feature of NEP 2020, it aims at India, a global knowledge superpower. It is only the third major revamp of framework we have seen in 68, 86, and now in 2022. It aims to bring 2 crore out of school children back to the mainstream through an open schooling system. That is why the MOOCs and SWAYAM portals, online platforms are also equally given credit and importance. School governance is set to change with a new accreditation framework and an independent authority to regulate both public and private schools. Assessment reforms with 360-degree holistic progress card, tracking student progress for achieving learning outcomes. And the more important focus is on vocational education that will start from class 6th with internship provisions in the curricula. The opinion on this NEP 2020, which is very, very, we can say that exciting and a flagship program of the government of India. And all are having very high ambition with this education policy. Kasturi Rangan has said that NEP provides an integrated yet flexible approach towards education, and emphasis is given in the policy to aspect of holistic development, multidisciplinary education as a foundational competent at all levels of education. So that is what the chairman has said. And T.V. Mohandas Pai, a very well-known social philanthropist working in the area of social entrepreneurship, said that NEP 2020 precisely what India needs to dominate in the future decades of growth and drive the education requirements of younger population. Jagmohan Singh Rajput, former director NCERT, said the new education policy is attached to the roots at the same time, talks about modernity and inspires for excellence. Rukmani Banerjee, is Chief Executive Officer of Pratham Education Foundation, said, by calling it the greatest equalizer and laying out clear learning targets, the national education policy does the right thing, build on it. So it will meet the requirement of the society. Narayana Murthy, a president in Infosys, said that NEP 2020 will bring proactive thinking and problem-solving culture in the country. Azim Premji said NEP would be truly transformative for Indian education. NEP responds almost completely to the policy wish list that almost everyone in education, including the entire range of organizations and institutions we have dealt with, would have had. So these are the observations made by different eminent educationists and responsible people in the society. Education sector plays a pivotal role in shaping the socio-economic development of a country, of a state. Historically, India had a knowledge system that not only ensured the effective transfer of holistic epistemology was there for centuries, from generation to generation, but also its enhancement as per the requirement of age, nation, and society. A smooth transition of this tradition to the modern days was hampered by successive colonial interferences, leading to several glaring gaps in the modern education system. Recognizing the urgent need to plug these gaps, the present government has introduced several groundbreaking reforms aimed at enhancing the quality, accessibility, and skill orientation of education across the country. Education, in its broadest general sense, is the means through which the aim and habits of a group of people lives on from one generation to the next one. Generally, it occurs through any experience that has a formative effect on the way one thinks, feels, or acts. So it goes one generation to another generation. In its narrow technical sense, education is the formal process by which society deliberately transmits its accumulated knowledge, skills, customs, and values from one generation to another generation. Education we can categorize this whole education system in India into three broad categories. In ancient period, during medieval period, and in the modern period. So in ancient India, the history of education in ancient India is fascinating, and it is recorded. It's can be tracked to the ancient era. Education in India is deep rooted to its culture and society. Gurukul system of learning was to impart traditional knowledge. The sages and scholars imparted education orally. Palm leaves and barks of trees were used for writing. So Gurukul was the system in ancient India. These ancient schools in India were residential in nature, with the Sishya, means students, and the Guru, teachers. They both were residing in the same, premises. Education in ancient India was more identified with Gurukul system that we have done. Then Brahmacharya. Ancient Indian allotted a period of time exclusively for education. Through Upanayan, a student was initiated into Brahmacharya. During this period, he or she was undergone completely. Basically, it was for boys, this Brahmacharya ashram, under complete self-discipline and self-control. All sorts of luxuries and pleasures were to be avoided. This period was called as Brahmacharya, where the students concentrated on learning various subjects. And the subjects which were covered in ancient India during the Vedic period, most education was based on Ved and other texts and scriptures. Vedic education system included proper pronunciation, recitation of Vedas, the rules of sacrifice, grammar, understanding of secrets of nature, reasoning, including logic, sciences, and the skills necessary for an occupation. This is mentioned in the Veda of herbal medicines and various conditions of diseases, including fever, cough, baldness, snake bite, and others. So these were the subjects covered during ancient India. The Upanishad, another part of the scriptures, these texts encouraged the exploratory learning process, where teachers and students were co-travelers in a search for truth. The teaching method was reasoning and questioning. In Mahabharata, it discusses human goals, attempting to explain the relationship of individual to society and the world. Ramayana explores the theme of human existence and the concept of dharma. The teacher imparted knowledge of philosophy, literature, warfare, statecraft, medicine, astrology, history. The corpus of Sanskrit literature encompasses a rich tradition of poetry and a drama, as well as technical, scientific, philosophical texts. Through many central texts of Buddhism and Jainism have also been composed in Sanskrit. So these were the basic focus during ancient India. Then Guru Dakshina. Education was free, but students from well-to-do families paid Guru Dakshina, a voluntary contribution after completion of their studies. Education in medieval period. The first millennium and the few centuries preceding it saw a flourishing of higher education at Nalanda, Taxila, Ujjain, Vikramshila University, etc. Art, architecture, painting, logic, grammar, philosophy, astronomy, literature, Buddhism, Hinduism, Arthashastra, economics and politics, law, medicine, etc. subjects were covered. Taxila specialized in study of medicine, while Ujjain laid emphasis on astronomy. Nalanda, being the biggest center, handled all branches of knowledge and housed up to 10,000 students at its peak. Education in medieval India expressed a new perspective in the 11th century. The Muslims established the elementary and secondary schools. There was a fresh interaction between Indian and Islamic traditions in the fields of knowledge like theology, religion, philosophy, fine arts, painting, architecture, mathematics, medicine, and astronomy. Muslim rulers promoted urban education by building libraries and literary societies. Primary schools called maktabs were established, and reading, writing, and basic Islamic prayers were taught. Secondary school called madrasas taught advanced language skills. These were set up by sultans, nobles, and other influential people. A scholar from madrasa would be eligible for civil service and to become a judge. Education in modern India. The education system, which the Britishers introduced, teaching of English language, was given greater emphasis, and the study of languages like Arabic, Persian, Sanskrit were left to individual efforts. The objective of this education was the English introduced modern education to reduce the expenditure on administration, to encourage the study of English language, to expand the market for English goods, to spread Christianity. And according to Lord Macaulay, after receiving modern education, Indians would remain Indians only in their colors, their thought process would be different. Totally changed. The Western education in India, 1784 AD, Theistic Society of Bengal was founded. Sir William Jones. The society started several English schools and colleges. The missionaries started Wilson College at Mumbai, Christian College at Madras, and St. John's College at Agra. Between progressive Indians like Rajaram Mohan Rai also started colleges where English was taught. A Charter Act 1813 AD paved the way for setting aside 1 lakh of rupees for promoting the knowledge of modern sciences. But sadly, this money was not used for many years, and there was a controversy about the medium of learning. Between 1828 to 1835, A.D. William Wentington, along with Lord Macaulay and Rajaram Mohan Rai, encouraged English learning. Lord Hardinge decided that only Indians with English knowledge will be appointed in government jobs. Charles Wood's dispatch 1854 AD enabled educational departments to be established in every province, and universities were opened at Kolkata, Mumbai, Madras in 1857 AD, and at least one government school in each district. So we were in the process of opening schools to teach English and the modern education as per the British rulers. With the help of local philanthropists, they opened 186 universities and colleges of higher education by 1911. They enrolled 36,000 students by 1939. The number of institutions had doubled, and enrollment reached 1,45,000. Lucknow, Delhi University, etc. was established during that period. The curriculum followed classical British standards of the sort set of Oxford and Cambridge, and stressed English literature and European history. Nevertheless, by 1920s, the student bodies had become hotbeds of Indian nationalism, and they played very active role in freedom movement. Education in the post-independence era. After independence, education became the responsibility of the states. The central government's only obligation was to coordinate in technical and higher education and specify standards. This continued till 1976, when the education became a joint responsibility of the state and the center. Education falls under the control of both union government and the states, with some responsibilities lying with the union and the states having autonomy for others. The various articles of the Indian Constitution provide for education as a fundamental right. Most universities in India are controlled by the union or the state government. India has made progress in terms of increasing primary education attendance rate and expanding literacy to approximately 2/3 of the population. India's improved education system is often cited as one of the main contributors to the economic rise of India. Much of the progress, especially in higher education, scientific research, has been credited to various public institutions. However, India continues to face stern challenges despite growing investment in education. Today, close to 1/4, 25% of the population is also illiterate. So that we have to look into the issue. As of 2022, there are 45,473 degree granting engineering colleges. So technical institutions we have in India, with an annual student intake of 582. So 582,000 engineers we are in a position to produce. But now the number may be more. It may be increased because 2 years we have crossed, we traveled more. The total number of universities in colleges, institutions registered is 1,000, more than 1,000 universities we have, colleges 43, more than 43,000, and standalone institutions we have more than 11,000. However, these institutions face shortage of faculty, and the concerns have been raised over the quality of education. So quality is very important parameter when the number of students, number of institutions are increasing, mushrooming. several academicians and educationists, they call it mushrooming of the institutions. At the same time, we need qualified teachers also, dedicated teachers also, passionate teachers and researchers to impart quality education. Value-based education is threefold development of any individual, of any gender and age, but most importantly of a child. Education tries to develop three aspects: physical, mental, and character. So physical development, mental development, and character is very important. Even though physics and mentality are important, they are menaces without the third, because character is the greatest of these. The failure in academic learning is closely linked to the failure to nurture values and sensitivity to others and nature. So that is very important, that we have to develop three aspects of an individual. Quality parameters. Quality parameters in education refers to the standards, criteria, and indicators used to measure the effectiveness and excellence of educational institutions, programs, and services. And it can be categorized into four sections: input, what we are providing, then process, how we are providing, and what is the output, and overall outcome. So outcome at the long run. So input, teacher qualification, training. The Ctpd is playing very important role to train the teachers in professional way. Very, very congratulations and very good job you are doing for the development of the country. Curriculum design and relevance is again very important as per the change and advancement in the science and technology in the society. We have to update ourselves. Infrastructure and resources, students-teacher ratio, and admission enrollment is the input. Then we have come to the process, teaching methods, and pedagogy. Assessment teaching method means teaching is reaching to the students. So how we are going to measure it and what mechanism we have developed to map the students at the time of the admission and during the lecture delivery. So this is process, assessment and evaluation technique, student engagement and participation, academic support services, counseling, mentoring, continuous professional development for teachers. Then outcome is academic achievement and performance, student learning outcomes and skills, graduation and completion rates, progression, employment and career advancement, and alumni satisfaction. And outcome is the long-term achievement, student satisfaction and feedback, employer satisfaction and feedback, accreditation and recognition, research and innovation, social responsibility, for what cause we have been established that particular institution, whether it is achieving or not. So these four parameters are generally known for quality. Then we have international, accreditation institutions in place: UNESCO Quality Education Framework, OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, Education 2030 Framework, accreditation standards. We have NAC, NBA, National Board of Accreditation, ABET. Then we have Association of MBAs, National and International Ranking, QS, Times Higher Education, NIRF. Now SIRF also there in the several states. Uttarakhand is also having this SIRF. So popularly, Simon's QS World University Ranking is basically based on 6 major criteria. The academic reputation consists of 40%. Academic reputation means publication, citation, indexing, etc. Employer reputation, then faculty-student ratio, citation per faculty, international students, international staff. So these are the criteria for QS ranking. Then QS subject-wise ranking is having 4 criteria. Academic reputation is the 50% contribution from academic reputation. So if we are we are looking for Nobel Prize, means we are having patent, we have publications, we have indexes, we have citation, everything. So focus on this top level, top achievement, means go for the novelty. With novelty, we can target for Nobel Prize. If we are looking for all the researchers, academicians, teachers, if all of us are looking for Nobel, means we are having all the requisites which are required to achieve that highest level of award at the international level. So research impact, citation per paper and citation per faculty, employer reputation, and H-index. These are the subject-wise rankings as per QS. QS regional ranking also: academic reputation, employer reputation, faculty-student ratio, international students, international staff, papers per faculty, citation per paper. Then young university, newly established university ranking is having 6 criteria: academic reputation, employer reputation, research impact, faculty-student ratio, international. So these are the parameters. For sustainability, environmental impact 40%, social impact and governance, ESG. So this is popularly known as ESG parameter that they are also considering while going for accreditation of an institution or the university. Then QS ranking for a specific area, QS World University ranking. So 4 categories are there. QS graduate employability. Employability means based on the skill. QS university ranking by location. Location means the geographical location, coastal area, maybe Himalayan area, or considering the accessibility and the transportation availability point of distance online MBA rankings. So these are this is one of the examples of global accreditation. Now we have NAC grading, NAC accreditation in India. So it is based on 7 criteria. The first criteria related to curricular aspect. Curricula, when we are going to design curricula or pedagogy for a particular program, then we have to mention program outcomes, and then program specific outcomes, and then course outcomes. So PO, PSOs, and COs are to be linked and in the proper, in proper synergy, so that after the completion of a particular course, the students, the receivers would be in a position to lead his or her life as an independent consultant or independent individual or independent professional. Then criteria second is teaching learning evaluation. Whatever POs, COs, PSOs we have set. Now the second criteria, we have to design a framework to measure those outcomes, or a student is to be judged or evaluated on those criteria. The criteria third is very important, and this is research, innovation, and extension. Whatever research we are doing, lab to land, we have to ensure that scientific innovations and the inventions should reach to the user. If it is not user friendly, then it will be not, the purpose won't be fulfilled. So that is why this extension community engagement is very, very important. So most of the institutions, they have very good linkage with the society, with the community, because community is the stakeholder of the academic institutions. So that is taken care in the criteria third. Criteria fourth are related to the library, e-resources, and the infrastructure, whatever facilities we have. This criteria 5 is student progression. So criteria 1, 2, and 5, these 3 are to be linked, and we should be in a proper direction and in a synergy. If all these 3 are in a proper direction and defined properly, then progression won't be stopped. We cannot stop any student to progress, so they can have this kind of. And these all are based on the leadership, governance, overall management. So we should have student-centric governance in academic institutions. If it is student-centric, means student psychology, student problems are taken care, then definitely the learning environment, this ecosystem would be very, very conducive and very, very fruitful. And for this, the last one is institutional values and best practices. What are the best practices? Green initiatives, sustainability, what we are taking, the best practices and distinctiveness. How we are different, what distinctiveness we have in comparison to several thousands of the institutions in the country and globe. So what distinctiveness we have and what best practices we are having. So these 7 criteria are there in case of NAC accreditation. Then we have now the new accreditation system will be there after this completion of this year. Means from January onward, we have binary accreditation for colleges and university. This binary accreditation is categorized into 3 sections that I have already mentioned. So the first is input. Under this input, we have 4 criteria: curriculum design, faculty resources, infrastructure, and financial resources and management. So financial resources means mobilization of funds. This mobilization of fund is different from criteria 3 that we were having research under the research and extension. Research means major research projects we are getting from somewhere, but resource mobilization is other than the research grants. So these 4 are treated as input. So this input will help us to process learning and teaching, extended curricular engagements is again related to the community, means lab to land. Then we have governance and administration. And outcome, student outcomes, research and innovation outcomes. Student outcome means progression. Research and innovation outcome means patent and publications, then academic reputation, and sustainability outcome means green initiatives, what we have achieved. So these are the newly introduced accreditation system in India. Now I would like to sum up what is the need of this quality. Quality means expectation changed. We have to change the strategy. We have to change the several kind of system is changed. That way I have mentioned and try to explain with this diagram the stakeholder satisfaction, stakeholder expectation, human relationship, overall management is changed. So these are taken into consideration. Now, areas of learning and creation auditing mechanism, we have to look into the compliance metrics, employee metrics, innovation metrics, environmental metrics, or is to be taken care of. Then we have to, what is the achievement of IQAC? IQAC is in place. 25 years of IQAC is going to be over and is completed in most of the institutions. What they achieved earlier, it was not in place. Later on, it was established. Still today, most of the institutions think that this NAC accreditation is the job of IQAC and job of principal or vice chancellor, but that is not true. So IQAC is the body from where we have to initiate all kind of academic and quality initiatives is to be taken care of. And if all faculty members or teachers will cooperate, then definitely it can play very, very important role in quality metrics. Outcome-based learning is very important. Process metrics, student support progression, and performance metrics. So continuous evaluation. Quality is not one-time job. Quality is to be treated as habit of each and every individual. So it is a continuous process that we have to. And finally, this should be the objective and target. And whole institution from top to bottom should work in a proper synergy in an ecosystem where teaching and learning can be more conducive, more of student friendly, and more effective. And for that, we need to have proper mechanism of decision making, transparency in our governance, transparency in decision making from top to bottom. So top level management is involved, where IQAC is also at the top level. Policies are decided. Then we come to the implementation level, means sustenance. Whatever policies and programs we are implementing or we are formulating, we have to look into the implementation part also. If implementation is not, cannot be done, then it can't sustain. So sustenance of the policy is very important. Whatever initiative, whatever reform initiative we are taking, we have to look into the sustenance part of that particular policy. And then ultimately it will enhance the quality. So quality enhancement, we need support from teachers, from stakeholders, from each and every individual, whosoever is involved, involved and is attached with the institution. Then definitely we can achieve, and we will achieve the quality parameters. So education reforms is the continuous exercise, continuous assignment, and quality is also a continuous journey. It is not one-time development or cannot be achieved with accidentally or suddenly. It is a well-defined process. So we all will follow the parameters laid down by Indian institutions, by international bodies. Then definitely we will be in a position to achieve whatever expectations the society and stakeholders are having from us. Thank you very much for providing me this opportunity. Thank you, Ctpd, for inviting me. Thank you, Madam Munyal. Thank you, Madam Tanya Gupta-ji, and all the responsible and authorities of the Ctpd. And a special thanks to the chief guest of the inaugural session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor H.C. Purohit, sir, for your detailed and insightful deliberation from ancient India, moving to the medieval one, and the after independence, and to the present era of education, where the stakeholders role is very very important. और स्पेशली आपने अपने उद्बोधन में जो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण बात कही कि आज यदि हम गुणवत्तापूर्ण शिक्षा की बात करते हैं तो उसके लिए हमें केवल भारतीय मानकों को ही नहीं बल्कि अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मानकों पर भी खरा उतरना पड़ेगा। और इसकी ये सबसे महत्वपूर्ण जो बात आपने कही और वो ये है कि जब रिसर्च जब तक कम्युनिटी के काम नहीं आएगी, इस प्रकार की गुणवत्तापूर्ण शिक्षा हो कि व्यक्ति का संपूर्ण विकास हो सके। और ये संपूर्ण विकास तभी संभव है जब हम शिक्षा को बहुत अधिक जोड़ेंगे समाज के साथ। Thank you so much, sir, for your detailed deliberation. And now I request you to accept as a token of gratitude from the organizers of the conference this virtual memento.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
बहुत
Professor
बहुत धन्यवाद.
Purohit. Now, moving further in this inaugural session, we are honored to have Dr. Eugene G. Koch, Associate Professor in Leadership, Policy and Governance, Workland School of Education, University of Calgary, Chair, University of Calgary, Social Sciences and Humanities, Canada. Warm welcome, sir. Sir is a PhD holder and an influential figure in education and technology. His leadership extends beyond academia, as he is a past president of AECT, the leading international professional society for educational technology, faculty, students, researchers, and leaders in universities, schools, and industry. Dr. Koch's research is dedicated to enhancing education leader capabilities, particularly in leading innovation, organization design, instruction, and policy supporting technology enhanced learning organizations. For 20 years, Dr. Koch's research program and graduate students conceptualized and developed ideas, processes, and policies to support higher education, K-12, and industry systemic change. As a past president of AECT, he expanded international chapters and research alliances in tech worldwide. An editorial board member of several international journals, Dr. Koch has published hundreds of articles and a major reference work, Systems, Thinking and Change, offering the newest theory, research, and practice guidance for systemic change leaders among learning architects. He has supervised many master's and doctoral students to completion, with research teams active in complexity thinking for leader development. Dr. Koch holds national awards in Canada and Thailand for outstanding contributions to the educational technology and leadership fields. In the last decade, he has offered more than 24 keynote addresses across Asia and around the world, focusing on the leading education system, adaptability with technology, most recently focusing on robotics and artificial intelligence. Having completed an analysis of the G10 nation artificial intelligence policies, we are honored and fortunate enough to have you as a distinguished speaker, Dr. Koch. Now may I request you to address the attendees on the theme Digital Innovation and its impact on educational reforms and advancement. Dr. Koch.
Thank you, Dr. Tiwari, and I tip my hat to the organizers of a conference that's grown a great deal since last year. So much more work, such a beautiful outline for what we're going to experience in the next 2 days. Thank you so much. The previous speakers, equally brilliant and exciting. I've been trying to learn Indian education history. It's not easy, and that last presenter really gave us a good capsule as well. Dr. Carr talked about change as a journey. So today I'm going to offer you a quick 20-minute journey into something I think you'll have a little bit of fun exploring. It's a journey into how to get more involved, no matter how experienced you are in education, as a leader in AI. Now I'm going to mention the word policy, and I have two kind of PhD hats, one in learning science and one in leadership. And if I say policy, sometimes I can put half the room to sleep, or the whole room. So we're not going to talk too much about policy. We're going to talk about it as an expression of where we want to go and take people. And this AI thing is so overhyped right now. We need a little bit of sensibility. And where is it going for teachers who care for each other and for children? So here we go. I'm going to share my slides, Madam Chair, if that is okay. And I'm trusting you can see the slide deck. Thank you so much. So here we go. You've heard all about my background. I won't explain it anymore. We're going to talk about how to understand a complex innovation system from a policy perspective. Basically, talk about the G10 study I just completed. I studied the top GDP producing countries in the world, and I studied their AI strategic plans. And I looked at it through a policy analysis lens and an innovation policy analysis lens, but also through an education leadership lens. I'm a prof in ed leadership. And I found some amazing things, and I found some opportunities for everyone in education, particularly in India. I look closely at the India policy because it turns out to be kind of special. So I'm going to show you where the open doors are in your own policy environment with respect to education and AI, and maybe you'll find a pathway towards education reform with the AI digital innovation as it comes on. So here we go. Oops. And then those bright futures are pretty clear. Right now, we're getting pressure in North America, Europe, I know, in Southeast Asia. Not sure about India, but Bill Gates is on TV and he's talking about visiting schools and that he thinks education has the most to offer in terms of AI. Okay. Others have said, NBC, these pictures are from NBC, that there are 2 new AI schools in the US, one in Texas, where they don't need teachers. And of course, this will only cause fear and worry among teachers, but we've heard that with every technology, that you don't need teachers with televised, you don't need teachers with internet. Of course you need teachers. But these tensions are causing a great deal of anxiety. So we're going to put some sense to some of this a little bit. We already know, you know from your brightest tech-savvy students, that there are on the left 4 major AI learning management system, large language model systems, and all of these different apps that help us run AI. Today, you can go on your computer, I've used these, and run these for your classrooms and for teaching. And your students are already using them for lesson planning, for tutoring, for getting their papers done. They're way ahead of us already. If they have an internet, that's all they need. They can use these things. So chatbots, automated grading systems, content recommendation systems for instructional design, VR augmented learning, all happening all via these apps. Every one of you can log in. Some of these have a fee, some don't. So it's on its way. It's the cat's out of the bag, so to speak, and we have to learn how to deal with this. So how we understand innovation in an ecosystem rather than just in a school or a building or a district is important. We have to see it as part of much bigger things because AI requires us to work with much bigger systems than most school systems can ever possibly afford. But they're online. Many are free. In the US, they're using this approach I'm talking about today to USAID is using it to analyze tragedies in the world, complex messes like floods and disasters, wars, to respond, to figure out how they're going to respond. So you look at everything in the ecosystem, all things are connected, and use massive computing and the data we have to organize our response to, say, a flood, a hurricane, a volcano. So this is the same idea carried over into education. I've been studying this for years now. Talking about policy analysis, we're going to talk about the way that's changing to accommodate this idea that technology and learning and leadership are all combined in the school, in the district, and in the community and around the world if we have to use these powerful new tools. And we're going to have to. So we used to look at policy analysis as one policy for one sector, and we would monitor our goals and outcomes. Then we started thinking, well, policy systems have often more than one policy necessary. We still thought of it as a one sector thing, like education. A sector is education, healthcare, industry. And we would monitor aggregate goals of all these policies and the outcomes. So we kind of watch, and then we would adjust policies and interventions. Now we're looking at policy mixes more often because we understand more than one policy is going to work better on something in more than one sector. And that's important. So how do we handle that? Well, we use computers and network thinking to monitor and intervene the interactions among policies. And that's newer. And we take a design approach to our policy that we look at how people set goals, set agendas, how they set their instrumentation, like attach money to policy, how they fund things, how they involve people, how they organize people. Interactions among policies we look at that, and we look at the intended and unintended outcomes, whereas you used to just look at the intended outcomes and kind of adjust. Innovation is considered to be not just change, but new processes and products. So if you have regular school right now in an urban center, you would be, if you are innovating, you're not just changing something, you're changing the way you teach and learn and the results of the teaching and learning significantly. It's different than it was before you started. So that's what we mean by innovation today. Give you some examples of these things. Let's say a policy problem is healthier communities, all ages. One example under policy analysis, the old way of looking at things, school vaccinations for polio. We brought in a policy to have an effect. Policy systems approach with greater than one policy in one sector, several vaccinations, and maybe a health program too. And we'd monitor aggregate goals measured not just by polio interventions, but others. Now we're looking, COVID taught us this, and we've known it for some time, but it's really clear to the public now. Sometimes we have to look at, let's say we're healthier communities, we need to look at poverty, policy, learning policy, health policy, social care, vaccination policy, physical fitness arrangements, bioengineering research, and tax adjustments. Medical doctors, education professionals all need to work together to create a number of policies that span the sectors to get healthier, happier families. You and I know this is how it all works in the end, but it's been overwhelming for us until we had these models and sensibilities about complexity. So now we can, using network thinking and this new way of looking at policy, we can look at how people come to organize themselves and not just be told how to apply one or two policies. I'll get into this a little bit more, but that's the idea. So it's a shift toward policy mixes where there's more than one policy, and we look at the interaction between them for the total outcome. And we measure all this too, carefully. The reasons we're shifting to this, innovation driven towards economic success is too dependent on traditional sciences, and they change too often and they get co-opted by business, and we end up in education just following apps, spending fortunes on things we don't understand. We miss the social media learning revolution. We kind of missed the distance learning. We're catching up now since COVID, but we've been ignoring a lot of things. We're overwhelmed in teaching, but there are ways now to let the computers help us be the best teacher and create the best policies, but we can't do it alone as educators. We need to now work with every other people in the ecosystem. So we can't just look at economic issues in, say, AI policy. Innovation, whereas there's a shift towards dispersed and aggregated partnered power sharing arrangements. So partnered arrangements for all sorts of things to spread the resources around. New governance is required for this. New above the nation and below the nation, provincial, regional, district actors, business, industry, partners, horizontal influences. We're sharing things across systems to get things done. And there's more quasi-state and non-state partners. So it's complicated, but we can manage it. Transformative policy mixes are a new way of thinking of things. I'm going to show you what that means. I interpreted the G10 policies using traditional and transformative policy making lenses. These are nonlinear, complex systems where we look at both social and technical systems. Grand challenges drive innovation policy. Things that aren't related just to education, but to, especially at a national level, but to other challenges. And I'm going to show you how 10 nations have responded to AI and let you figure out where you want to go with it. But India is kind of special. I'm very excited about it. I talked about India last year and the year before at different large conferences in your country, and I'm learning much more. And I'd like to hear from you. So policy and instrument mix interactions between sectors is becoming important. Transdisciplinarity. We can't just be a good teacher, learner, principal, administrator anymore. We're going to have to work with other sectors a lot more. And IT is not going to be able to be the IT it was. It's going to have to be a broker between this AI business, computer science, and us much more effectively. And it is working in some places, but barely getting started. In North America, at least. So we look at both the positive and negatives of these policies. So education as ecosystem, I've already talked about that. We are looking at policy networks. That's a concept you can read about. I did my thesis on it so many years ago. We have to just understand that education systems are always changing. We're not headed for a stable status quo like we did in old education theory. We understand it's constantly changing, and that's our norm. Everyone's interconnected and codependent in nested subsystems. And policy networks that link, bridge, and bond social capital, I talked about that here last year, are important as we get our work done. We learn this from nature. Nature is pretty good at self-organizing, and these principles come from nature and from the sciences. So everything's connected, and we tend towards less formal, more flexible education organizations and leadership models. Something called ecosystemic dynamic systems theory, where we're looking at constant flux change. Okay, with nonlinear modeling. So what's an education as an ecosystem? Well, there's a learner supported by a teacher, a learning environment designer, maybe an infrastructure, finance services, leadership, district leadership in schools, and national, regional, and local governments. Those systems in our minds, often I've studied over 300,000 people now in my different studies, and I have noticed that we tend to think of these as discrete, like there's boundaries between them. But they're really nested, co-connected systems without boundaries. They flow together if we can understand how to do that. And this is the way we're looking at policy making now. There are all these other features: economics, philosophical shifts, culture, well-being, innovation, social justice. But we need to go between the learner and that environment, that ecosystem, those ecosystem elements that are nested in constructing plans for the future. We know this works. It makes things more flexible, our plans more flexible. COVID showed us this. As the system failed completely worldwide. This is from UNESCO and UNICEF data. If you look at the blue arrow over on the right-hand side, 24% of the learning was lost just until October 2020, when this study of 149 countries was done. We lost 25% of the learning that could have happened. That's a huge human loss. And that's because we couldn't get a distance learning going. We couldn't figure out how to open and close schools or whether or not to. It was a disaster. We handled it very badly. I'm an educational technology and a distance learning pioneer. And I'm amazed at how badly we did it all. So we need to handle systemic change better. Two major references here help me with this production today: the Systems Thinking and Change book that was mentioned in the introduction, and a new book coming out. I've got a chapter in it on this study, G10 Innovation Policy Analysis. It's coming out real soon. You're the first in the world to see these results, so here we go. I looked at resources, acts and regulations, policies and goals, target sectors, the main actors. You're going to find this interesting. Stay tuned for that. The USA is number one, of course, the largest economy. Number two is China, Germany, Japan. Fifth is India, the United Kingdom, France, Brazil, and Italy. So I studied all their policies. It took me 3 months. It's a bigger job than I thought, but I learned a lot. Oh, Canada, we're the last on the list at 10. And I'm going to show you the results of this, but I'm going to show them in a general way so you can see how you can get involved and how your students can get involved and need to get involved before we end up stuck behind an economic and industrial engine that we can't deal with in education. Yet our students and families will be dealing with this technology daily, and their expectations are going to keep climbing. So, resources. Well, in a nutshell, $760 billion US have been spent on AI by venture capitalists in these different countries. India has had $15 billion US invested in it. This is according to OECD's AI portal and database pulled up last month. So China's second, but we're not sure about the Chinese numbers. The UK is firm, 30 billion, India 15 billion, Canada 15 billion. Then a lot of money going in. So this is why there's so much pressure. These business people are looking for returns on their investments, and they're not getting them. AI is not yielding the returns. So there's going to be a kick about AI, but we're going to have it. It's here to stay. So we're going to have to learn how to deal with it. Investments in higher education. There was no data I could find on K-12 exactly. I was asked also to look at higher ed for that book, so I did, but I found that 9,000 million, in other words, 9 billion, have been invested in higher education. It's kind of fuzzy because higher education is being used as the vessel for R&D done with industry. So I'd love to know how much K-12 is getting. That'll be my next study. But right now, Germany is the top spender at 4.3 billion, Italy 3.3, and France 800 million, UK 280, US 250, Canada 78. China, India, Japan, and Brazil did not disclose this in their AI strategic plans. And by the way, they were all done in about 2017, 2018, 2020. So they're got a date. They're getting ready to be renewed, and that's why I'm talking to you today. You can get in on this and help with the renewal, and I'll show you how. Artificial intelligent national acts, there are none in all these countries. There's no acts to inform regulation and guidelines, even the ethical guidelines. So they're being, if you go to court on AI, you're going to be working with other acts. This is important because it's very inefficient. But generally, Germany, Canada, Italy, and the UK and India take a soft touch AI regulatory approach to let business, who is often leading the public sector and research in this highly sensitive IP area. So there's these partnerships, and where our governments are listening and learning and going back and forth with them on setting whatever policy we are setting and acts we're starting to set up. The EU does have an act, but it doesn't force its member countries to use them. It's a reference. No other country in the G10 has any, no one country has an act. The regulatory challenge is to balance risk and innovation along with economic opportunities. So you're going to see why that's important in a few minutes. What are the main goals? So we looked at the big resources going in. What are the goals? India has chosen AI talent and reskilling, ethical AI, responsible, ethical, transparent, trustworthy AI, and AI science and technology core research as its 3 top goals. Pretty impressive, actually. There's the strategy up there. Their strategy goals are they have 4 goals. You do incentivizing core and applied research. Every country is doing that, but they're doing mostly that, by the way. They're getting ready for reskilling and upskilling for AI. That'll affect educators. Accelerate AI adoption, that's a goal. And develop responsible, transparent AI that's trustworthy. So those are the 4 goals, but it gets more interesting. When I look deeply at the domains and sectors each of these countries is actually targeting and then where they're putting the money, the picture changes from the goals. Industry and computer science are getting about 60% of the priority. Health, government, defense, and labor, the remaining quarter, roughly 1/3. And education is going to blend it in there. We're not very visible as a sector. But in India, healthcare, agriculture, education, smart cities, and smart mobility are priority sectors. India is one of the countries that didn't show its resource allocation, so we can't tell if they're putting their money where their mouth is on this. But I'll help somebody figure that out if you're if you know how to. I'm going to be in India later this year. I'm on sabbatical, so this is exciting. But education is mentioned here explicitly, and that's important because only Japan, other countries mention it, but they don't put any effort into it. But there's a really complicated plan for education for India in its strategic plan. I found that very exciting. But notice everybody else is into industry and computer science. They're all saying it's education and reskilling, but it isn't. 2.5 main actors, the people's involved. Who's involved? Well, the dark blue is science people. In writing these things, who writes the strategic plan? Science people. Humanities, minority, and government seems to be writing a lot of them. Your AOG group, NITI AOG, I could be pronouncing it wrong, forgive me, has written this wonderful plan. So look at that. There's a lot of science people in there. I was shocked. 1%, less than 1% of all the people on all the committees, expert committees, writing these national policies have an education background. 1%. So that just nothing on education really the way you and I understand it. What an opportunity for you new scholars. India has proposed 2 big sector developments, billions of dollars of investment go into cores, that's fundamental AI research, building it up, making it work, and ICTIs, which are international centers for transformational AI to solve problems, to work with ministries that have problems and with partnerships that have problems. And this model is being followed around the world. So you've got that model. When you look at what agendas they set, 90% are economic. That's where they're putting the money right now. Despite what the plans say, this is where the money is going. 10% have mixed policies. You can spend it on economic or social or both. Hint, transformational policy is spent on both, on social and economic challenges that span those boundaries. That's where educators get involved. You guys are in that 10%. You're the only country out of 10 that have a mixed agenda where healthcare, agriculture, education, smart cities, and smart mobility are a direct focus. That's really exciting for educators. You have more of a chance in education to make a significant contribution globally to AI development in India than I'm finding everywhere else. Here's a summary of all the other, I looked at priority sectors, the values they have, the number of programs they've started. Whoops, that means my time is up, so I better hurry up. And you guys are the one that's in transformational policy. So educators are being left out, or we're leaving ourselves out because it seems too complicated. There are ways to understand why. On the left axis, the y-axis, you can have narrow and shallow understanding of innovation. What that amounts to is just basically, is it a machine or is it going to be connected to many other things and change other things? On the bottom is the agenda. So your understanding of it and your agenda setting matter. I measured the agenda setting in all the countries. I found it to be 90% economic. Remember that? So that means it's falling in the bottom left-hand corner a lot. Societal, you guys have societal goals in your AI policy. That's STI. National systems policy has a deeper understanding of the technology. Transformative policy, deep understanding of the AI, and deep understanding of societal in their visioneering. So that's pretty cool. So what does that mean? Well, economic stuff, that's factories, money, ecosystem level, top left-hand corner, digital strategy for Germany. That's how to get the digital systems infrastructure going. That's what most countries are spending their time on, is that upper left-hand quadrant and lower left-hand. And you guys are up here. There's question, but I'm running out of time, so I'm going to answer the question later in the question period. I'm sorry, Mr. Joda. Brilliant question. So the findings are what? Well, here are the findings. Here's where everybody stacks up. India is in transformative policy country, but they're not specific on their spending, so that requires more research. But I think there's way more potential in India and the UK and even Italy to get into transformative policy where educators are part of a societal and deep AI evolution than anywhere else. This taxonomy says many others are spending billions and billions and billions, and they're not going to get there this way. So that's going to get me fired. No, let's give me some interesting interviews. I know. The IMF researchers did a huge study just recently. They found a profound disconnect between policy and research in forming strategic plans for AI. There's no evidence, hardly at all, being used. They're using older models, some of those older models I told you about. So what are the futures for educators? Wow, the head of the UNESCO's got a transformative policy. This sustainability, that's transformative. But AI transcends sectors. So we have to start thinking beyond education to think about building curriculum and learning and systems for learning around solving problems, action-based, experiential learning, problem solving, etc. Okay, bright futures for us as researchers. We've got to do the research. We've got to get in the game. A second round of national policy is going to be set in India and everywhere else. These are 5 years old now, and AI has really changed. So you're going to see big teams creating new strategies. Get in there. Make it your PhD, master's students. PhD, make it your postdoc and your faculty appointment. This really will change the world, and we're not at the table. So you've got a chance with that. Also, you've got this Vikasit Bharat. I said it terribly. It's really interesting. I read the whole thing, and it's emerging, but it's also the same way of thinking that Niti Aayog had in creating your strat plan. So you got to get on these teams to shape national regulations, evolved from an economic mindset and apps and our focus on STEM and that kind of schooling to get into smart schools and smart humanities and big, woolly grand challenge problems and get our kids thinking critically about things, because the computers will help us teach the mundane stuff and it's going to help the kids learn the mundane stuff a lot faster. So learn from COVID. Last step is transdisciplinary teamwork. We're going to have to develop, this is where somebody like Ctpd India could really get ahead on transdisciplinary team development, skills for that, network leadership, reduce teacher fear of job loss. There's going to be more jobs, but in different ways. PD for teachers to co-evolve with AI so they don't fear it as it becomes more transparent. Capture some of those billions going in by the government to that learning. It's happening in engineering. It's not happening in education. Develop leadership capable of smart school leadership and AI informed. Just learn along with it and don't be shy. I'm on a number of these teams. I feel like I'm in grade 1 some days. I really do. But I really see how healthcare and education and even social work and IT can work together on this stuff. So bright futures for everyone, research opportunities where we derive evidence for these policies, for teacher PD programs, for leadership programs, and for government are in great demand around the world. It's just a matter of getting there and doing it. I went a little over time. I'm very sorry. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm happy to answer questions later. I've stopped sharing, Madam Chair. I hope that worked.
Thank you, Dr. Coach. What an eye-opening session, I must say. You presented all the ideas related to policy making and policy transformation, especially comparing that of all the countries. And I'm so overwhelmed by the knowledge you had about India and its education policies, as well as the transformative policies related to AI too. That is really commendable. Thank you so much for your expertise and the ideas you shared on policy design, design thinking, innovative policy, as well as digital innovation. Your insights on education as an ecosystem have been really very profound and shall serve as a guiding force to one and all in the session, especially about the need of transformation policies for AI in India and the societal benefit directed education. I think that is very, very important. The kind of education we are talking about, and AI is not only about education, but about integrating it in all the fields. And for that, transdisciplinary collaboration is very, very important. Thank you so much, sir. We are honored to have you here as a distinguished guest. And it was really very heartwarming to listen to you. Sir, please accept as a token of gratitude from the organizers of the conference this virtual memento.
Thank you. It's beautiful. You're very kind. I too would ask you to email it to me because I want to share it I'll put it up on my wall.
Yes, sir. Sure. Thank you, sir. Now, moving forward, we are feeling delighted in extending warm welcome to our distinguished speaker, Dr. Khushvinder Kumar, sir. इस आभासी मंच पर आपका हार्दिक स्वागत और अभिनंदन है सर. डॉक्टर खुशविंदर कुमार सर is principal, Khalsa College of Education, Amritsar, Punjab, India. Sir has more than 28 years of teaching experience and his research area is educational pedagogy. Sir has guided 38 MA dissertations, 9 PhD students of Punjab University, Chandigarh, and attended more than 3 refresher courses and 1 orientation course. Sir has presented 103 international national research papers, as well as delivered more than 100 lectures as invited speaker and resource person. Dr. Khushvinder has published 32 national international research papers. He has authored 6 books, edited 4 books, and has also translated 3 textbooks published from Punjab School Education Board, PSEB. Sir has held many responsibilities as assessor member NAC Bangalore, member NCTE peer team, member Board of Studies in Education, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar, Member Board of Studies in Education, PU Chandigarh, Member Academic Council, Member Academic Council of both Punjab University as well as Punjabi University, Patiala. Sir has been awarded with Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan Award in 2007. It is an honor for us to have you as a distinguished speaker, sir. May I request
Thank you
Dr.
very much.
Kurshinder Kumar, sir, to address on the theme Sustainable Development, Integration of Research, Innovation, Technology and Disaster Management into Education. Sir.
Thank you very much, Professor Onyal. I was really encouraged to listen to the previous speakers, particularly the previous speaker, Professor Purohit, and Professor Eugene Couch. Thank you very much for enlightening my vision, and particularly the keynote address by Professor Virendrajit Kaur really was a keynote and covered the whole gamut of education. May I share my screen, please?
Yes, sir, you can see it.
Yes, I'm trying. I hope the screen is visible.
Hanji, sir.
I'm going to speak on the topic sustainable development, integration of research, innovation, and disaster management. I will confining my understanding of the topic with respect to the education and design of the education, particularly in the light of National Education Policy 2020. We at present as a nation facing a paradox. The youngest nation is facing the crisis of unemployability. Many reports quoted so that we have the youth capital, and at the same time, perhaps we have to address the employability issues of the youth in some other ways. With this backdrop, I will like to share some of the aspects of education. The National Education Policy very positively included 3 to 6 year age group in our formal schooling education, which was not included till now as formal schooling. Why I am mentioning it? A formal structure has been given. The response to disaster situation is quite poor amongst our nation. A young person don't know how to react to a disaster situation in case of say flood, in case of earthquake, or any other, even in case of accident. Many of our youths don't know. At the exact time, if we look into the global education, is the early childhood and the elementary education. So the curriculum frameworks has been already been decided and designed for ECCE, National Curriculum Framework. A very passing reference has been given in it for training the students, the youth, to respond to the disaster situations. I hope the role of the Ctpd and all other bodies in the organization of this, particularly the universities, can play a pivotal role in this. The wonderful thing is that the scattered efforts in the early childhood has been consolidated as envisioned in this policy, that the standalone Anganwadis till now, whose performance was dismal, has been now supposed to be co-located and to be merged with the formal education systems. So obviously their outcome will be expected to be much, much better than the previous one. So I simply confine myself to only this, that if a young child, a child in early childhood stage had been trained to value the nature, to value the culture, and to respond to any of the emergency and the disaster situations, perhaps make us more sustainable, particularly in the country who is in seismic risk zone, and of course in flood zone also. So our role, I expect the role of all the universities and the curriculum training agencies can be significant in this particular area. Coming to the SDG goals, Sustainable Development Goals 2030, though only SDG 4 has been confined to the quality education. But when you look around it, almost every goal has been bearing 3 or 4 have their root in the quality education and in innovation. Though in SDG, the innovation has been confined only to industry as SDG 9, it is industry and innovation and infrastructure. But I think the role of the higher education institutions in innovation cannot be divided, or the results cannot be gained by the single effort of the industry. The ecosystem and the collaboration of academia and industries must. Again, a positive expectation and the goal fixation by NEP 2020 that jointly the academia and the industry can respond well to the innovation ecosystem. And at the same time, many other like addressing to the equitable society, no poverty, reducing hunger. I think it is well perceived by the education also, because our education basically is to engage in with the society, to give the productive contribution in building the equitable society, plural society, inclusion, and responding to our constitution in a positive manner. So I think the innovation only can contribute if it is the joint responsibility of the industry, academia, and now I include the third factor also, that is the community and society. It is the most ignored area in our nation, that we expect only that innovation and research to be done that can be marketed by some industry. But who will be responding to the research in the social sciences, research in the equitable society, research in the coherent society? Nobody is going to market that. Alas, sorry to say. But if the academia withdraws from it, then what will be the future, and how will we be sustaining as a community, as a society? So we have to respond to that. Onus again, I think, lies on the higher education system and the institutions. Another very wonderful thing which has been envisioned by NEP 2020, that is the STEM, the integration of the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, because the approach, emphasis approach was skewed for last 2 decades in the favor of the STEM subjects at the cost of humanities and the performing arts. But now this policy has very rightly envisioned that they need to be integrated. Technology devoid of the humanities perhaps may be dangerous, and vice versa. Humanity cannot sustain in the present scenario without the technology. So integrating is the wonderful. But again, whenever any institute is responding to the national curriculum framework, to the choice-based credit systems, now we education departments can play a role by giving a blueprint and designing the baskets for them, from where we can choose the open choices, interdisciplinary as well as interdisciplinary. I'm giving this observation by observing 4 universities CBCS system. Somehow they failed to design the blueprint in advance and the baskets and then jump over to the CBCS. The process was retrospective. Now, all the 4 or 5 universities, I'm not going to name, they are the reputed universities of our nation, but now they are struggling to make it. And obviously, the best minds are there. They will find some solution. But retrospectively, finding solution is quite difficult. Instead, we should start by preparing a blueprint and the baskets, and then we can think of providing the open choices. Another thing, the citizenship training, internship not only in the local industry, rather in the society also, community also. Whenever I'm reflecting, I'm quite close to my heart is the humanities. Why a student of humanity cannot have an internship program with the community, with the society, with the NGO, with any of the efforts? The city where I'm sitting, the city of Amritsar, has a wonderful examples of working the community and students in the pre-partition era. And it was the cultural and the revolutionary hub of the country, whose fruit we are reaping today as independent nation. So we have to take the lead and have to design the internship programs for social sciences. Otherwise, the social sciences are struggling to survive. We have to integrate them with the technology, and wonderful efforts had already been started after the notification of adoption of the National Education Policy 2020. Because my main area is teacher education, though I happen to be the head of institution in the 3 types of institutions, but I somehow perceive it like this, that the education, exactly the faculty of education, has been perceived as the nucleus of the whole higher education institution by NEP, which should be. Now it is up to us, the persons from the faculty of education, how we are responding to it. Just an example, integrated teacher education program has been, say, envisioned, will be responding to the in-service training, will be responding to the multidisciplinarity and the andragogy, and will be contributing to the research, not only in education, rather in all the faculties. I will be coming later to it. The network of schools is another thing. The biggest gap, almost all the reports and the committees highlighted that the linkage between the school, college, and the university is too poor in our nation. This linkage need to be strengthened. Every university, every higher education institution should have a network of schools along with them, so that a proper easy transition of a school student to the higher education can be designed and point. Coming to the last slide of my presentation, because I already told, I have an idea, so many ideas regarding the Department of Education, and 2-3 universities have started responding to it. Exactly, it has been envisioned as in my say diagram. It is the nucleus of the whole higher education system. The Department of Education will be giving the baskets and the blueprint for choice-based credit system, thereby deciding the format, framework, and the fate of multidisciplinarity. Secondly, the Department of Education will guide the institute regarding the programs, tenure of programs, multiple entry and exit, and how that can be certified, and which skill and to which level, for which level it can be certified. Open education resources is another area. A person from the faculty of physics and an expert from andragogy, they need to collaborate to develop the OERs. The OERs at present available on many of the sources, they are really very wonderful. But many, though today's our focus is on not that, if a meta-analysis has to be done on the available education resources, and from andragogical point of view, we might be having suggestion to many of the resources available on OERs. I had already discussed that the community engagement projects and internships in many areas where we have never imagined, they have to be say, brainstormed by the Department of Education and the Faculty of Education and should be experimented and innovated with the society, and the best practices can be picked up and can be replicated from this one. The research and development, this is the really wonderful area where the National Education Policy has mandated that every research fellow, irrespective of the faculty and subject, will be devoting 6 months program in the Department of Education, where he or she will be trained for andragogy, will be teaching the undergraduate and postgraduate students, and will be working on the projects to collaborate with the society and with the community. So that 6 months project work of a research fellow really, I think, will be maybe proven fruitful if we prepared a proper program in the university, because my college is affiliated with GNDU, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. We had already designed this structure that every student have to have certify this course from the Department of Education of Guru Nanak Dev University. So we have to think that. And this, I hope, will be going to give a great input in the form of linkage of the theoretical research input with the industry, with the society, with the community, and with the higher education teaching as well. Collaborations and linkages, because the education department is working in collaboration with the community, particularly the schools and the society. So they can play a wonderful role in developing this type of linkages with the community for the multidisciplinary institution. So with all these things, I had this amalgam of the ideas, of the roles that are expected from Department of Education. And then the sustainability of education and the sustainability of quality of education. If education department has been, say, accepted as a nucleus by any of the higher education institution, and at the same time, if the higher education, if the Department of Education faculty is ready to respond to that, then the quality obviously will sustain and will be able to contribute to research and innovation also. And I'm looking into the future years when once again our higher education institutions will be leading to the society, not following the industry or the society. So with this thing, once again, I appreciate the efforts of Ctpd. Thanks to all the persons in Ctpd, particularly Professor Tania Gupta, Professor Sanjay, for giving me this opportunity to reflect. Let me accept one thing. I had confined my presentation just to less than half, because just when I was about to click and start, the NAC accreditation result of my institution has been announced, and a lot of hue and cry of students and faculties outside my office. I very happily share that the Khalsa College of Education, GT Road, has been accredited with A++ grade just now. Thank you very much. And thank you very much once again for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Dr. Sanjay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Khushvinder Singh. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for the NAC accreditation of your college, A++ from the whole Ctpd family. And I thank you so much for the elaborate and nice presentation on the particular topic of sustainable development. Especially when you said that sustenance as a society, that should be the focus of educational institutions too. And our education department can play a very significant role for inter and interdisciplinary CBCS system, when you were saying, and the preparation of blueprint for that can be one role taken by the education departments. Community engagement and linkages is another field which can help us to sustain as a society. जब हम सस्टेनेबिलिटी की बात करते हैं तो कई बार केवल ये सीमित सा रह जाता है जहां हम केवल एनवायरनमेंट की बात कर रहे हैं, लेकिन अगर हम एजुकेशन सिस्टम एज ए होल की बात यदि करें और उसमें रिसर्च है, इनोवेशन है, टेक्नोलॉजी है और एजुकेशन उसमें कैसे रोल प्ले कर सकता है, एज एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस हम कैसे सस्टेन कर सकते हैं, दैट इज वन थिंग वी शुड स्टार्ट थिंकिंग अबाउट एंड एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट्स कैन टेक अ लीड रोल इन देयर रिस्पेक्टिव इंस्टीट्यूशंस एंड कॉलेजेस. Thankful to you. बहुत धन्यवाद सर आपका.
Thank you so much.
Please accept as a token of gratitude from the organizers of the conference this virtual memento.
Thank you so much for aesthetically designed wonderful memento. Kindly email it if possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Our next distinguished speaker in this inaugural session, Professor M.N. Gad is Dean, Faculty of Education, British University in Dubai, UAE, and she is also Affiliate Lecturer, University of Glasgow, UK. With a reputation as a world-class researcher and advocate, she serves as a goodwill ambassador for Bangladesh. She is a frequent keynote speaker, certified assessor, professional social trainer, and she is recognized internationally for her expertise in spatial and inclusive education and social development. Professor Gad could not attend us virtually this particular inaugural session because of her ill health, but so kind of her to send a video message congratulating the organization as well as sending her best wishes for the Ctpdcon-Era 2024. Now may we have her video message, please?
Thank you, ma'am. Some error is there, just a minute.
Dr. Sakshi, just stop sharing. Wait a minute.
In a short while, the video message from Professor M.N. Gad will be shared.
Only 1 minute.
I'm Professor M.N. Gad, a professor of inclusive education. I also happen to be the Dean at the Faculty of Education here at the British University in Dubai. Achieving equitable education is not easy. Nobody can claim a good record in that. In order for us to be committed to inclusion all day long and all lifelong, we have to understand how inclusion supports society to be sustained. This conference is a great opportunity for scholars, researchers, teachers, educators, and others involved in the field of inclusion to support their knowledge, upskill their skills, and to understand better how to live in an equitable, sustained society. As a person who spent my lifetime looking for research related in the area of inclusivity and achieving equitable education, I can say comfortably that achieving that is not easy. But I also learned over the years that by upskilling your skills, by learning more, by sharing views, it can help and support immensely in the quest for inclusive education and inclusivity. I wish you all and everybody who's attending the conference, whether in person or virtually, or supporting the cause for inclusive education and inclusivity, to have a very, very fruitful conference. Have a happy conference, everyone.
We are really thankful to Professor M.N. Gad for sharing this video message with us, which is related to highlighting the commitment to inclusion for equitable quality education. Now, from the organizers of this conference, we are presenting this virtual memento to Professor Garg, which will be sent to her email. Thank you, ma'am, for presenting this. अब इसी कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए मैं अपने साथी को मॉडरेटर डॉक्टर जुगनू खट्टर भाटिया मैम से अनुरोध करती हूँ. मैम.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Reena. And moving further, it is my great honor to introduce our next distinguished speaker for this inaugural session, Professor Dr. Gopal Krishnan Thakur, Dean School of Education and Director UGC MMTC at Mahatma Gandhi Antarashtriya Hindi Vishwavidyalaya. Sir is the Head Department of Education and Head Department of Psychology at Mahatma Gandhi Antarashtriya Hindi Vishwavidyalaya, Wardha, Maharashtra. Sir is also the President of Social Development and Research Foundation, India. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed delegates and participants, I regret to inform you that Professor Gopal is unable to join us today for this inaugural session due to an urgent commitment. However, he has graciously shared his blessing and insights with us through a recorded video message. We are very grateful for such valuable contribution to this conference, and I request you to listen closely to his thoughtful deliberations.
संजय सर प्लीज आप शेयर कर दीजिए. आई थिंक सम एरर.
It's okay, Sakshi ma'am, I'm doing.
To the organizers, participants, and delegates of this Ctpd International Conference 2024 on theme of educational reforms and advancements. It is truly inspiring and encouraging to see such a gathering of policymakers, scholars, educational practitioners, educators, and thought leaders who are committed to shaping the future of education. All of us understand that societal expectations from education are multifolds, cruising through all walks of life, spanning across each and every sphere of the globe. Society has always looked up to education to cater to all its evolving needs. If we look at the growth trajectories of human civilizations all across the globe, we find and realize the marvel of human endeavors by means of adopting education as one of the most efficient instruments for the advancement of human life and sustainable development. The present era is witnessing rapid technological advancement, shifting paradigms, and evolving societal needs. We are moving forward in leaps and bounds from Earth to Mars, to the exterior of Sun, to unfold the mystery of the infinite space. At the same time, we are also grappling with the issues of conflict and violence, hazards to environment, disaster, climate change, issues of sustainability, and many similar other issues. And we know for sure that the solutions to all such issues lie in how we educate our generations. The transformative power of education lies in its ability to shape not just the minds of individuals, but also the destinies of nations. And in this context, it is very, very crucial to revisit, reconceptualize, and strengthen our educational frameworks to align with the changing scenario and evolving needs of our society. The challenges and opportunities facing education systems all across the world call for innovative thinking, collaborative efforts, and a shared vision to create inclusive, equitable, and quality education for all. This conference, I hope and I believe, would provide a unique platform for exchanging ideas, sharing best practices, and building partnerships that may drive meaningful change in the field of education. All of you would have noticed this since last couple of years. In the recent time, India has embarked on a journey to overhaul its educational system. At the outset of National Education Policy 2020, we have witnessed all such changes taking place. And this process is emphasizing not only technological and scientific advancement, but also the revival and integration of Indian knowledge system into the mainstream educational processes. And all of us know and should believe in this, that the Indian knowledge system is considered as one of the most ancient knowledge system in the world, and it encompasses a vast reservoir of indigenous wisdom, science, technology, arts, value system, values related elements, finest elements, our indigenous medicinal system, medicinal knowledge system, astronomical knowledge system. All these things constitute the Indian knowledge system that has been the pride of our nation. And this knowledge system, the Indian knowledge system, holds lessons on sustainability, holistic living, ethical governance, and social harmony, which are increasingly relevant in today's globalized world. And it is the duties of educational institutions, educational thinkers, and all such platforms to provide an opportunity or number of opportunities to all such who are concerned for the field of education, who are concerned for the educational advancement, and by that who are concerned for the betterment of advancement of humanities, to provide such opportunities where people can come together, churn out ideas to how to make the most of our traditional system as well as the modern system, merge them, amalgamate them, blend them to bring out the best out of that. I believe that in one such of the endeavors like this conference, be helpful for all of us in the coming time. I commend the organizers and congratulate them for their foresight in convening this conference, having different themes and tracks into its folds, especially at a time when educational reforms are critical for fostering a culture of lifelong learning and sustainable development. It is through such initiatives that we can collectively address the pressing issues of our time.
Thank you so much, Professor Thakur, for your blessings for this 2 days international e-conference. Your words have given us a deeper understanding of the Indian knowledge system and its relevance to educational reforms and advancements. I'm certain that everyone on this platform has taken away valuable insights that will resonate long after this conference, and we are grateful for the time and effort you have dedicated to being a part of our event. Sir, as a token of our gratitude, we are pleased to present virtual memento in recognition of your support and contribution for this conference, and we will email this virtual memento to you, sir. Thank you so much. Moving with the session, and I would like to request my co-moderator, Dr. Reena, to please proceed with the session. Dr.
Thank you,
Reena.
Dr. Jugnu. Thank you, Dr. Jugnu, ma'am. Respected distinguished speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen. As we prepare to draw the curtains on this enlightening inaugural session at Ctpdcon-Era 2024, it is my pleasure to invite a distinguished individual among us to express our collective gratitude and appreciation for the valuable insights we have gained today. Professor Dr. Tanya Gupta ma'am, Secretary General, Ctpd India, Conference Convener, Program Director, Samavesh Circle and Shiksha Sastram Circle, Ctpd India, Dean, School of Education, Dean, School of Humanities and Director, IQAC, KR Mangalam University, Gurugram, Haryana, India. Dr. Tanya ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Reena ji. Good afternoon. Honorable Chief Guest, distinguished speakers, esteemed delegates, colleagues, scholars, and dear friends. It's been an amazing inaugural session. As we conclude this session of the Ctpdcon-Era 2024, I feel I'm blessed and I've had the privilege to deliver the vote of thanks. This moment marks the beginning of an intellectual journey that shall span over the next 2 days, and it wouldn't have been possible without the collective efforts and contributions of many. We would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest, Professor Dr. Birenderjeet Kaur ma'am. Your presence and insights have greatly enriched this event, and we are deeply honored by your time. As educators, we recognize that change is a continuous journey, and through reforms, we advance. Together, we can make a difference in educational practices by actively participating, seeking solutions, and fostering a hunger for knowledge. In your address, you mentioned about cognitive conflict that helps us identify the challenges and drive meaningful change. The discussions and the plans from this conference should inspire progress for future engagements. Fueling reforms in our educational ecosystem was your emphasis, and Ctpd takes this as our next year's resolution that when we come back for the 3rd International E-Conference, we'll bring out some of the constructive and implementable things that we have delved together here, and we can implement them and we can showcase them next year. So we take that as a purpose for us. Also, thank you for acknowledging the focus on the Indian knowledge systems in this session, which adds further depth to our shared mission. We would sincerely like to thank Professor Dr. H.C. Purohit sir for his elaborate address on quality education for holistic learning and its relevance to educational reforms and advancements. Sir, your emphasis on holistic learning, deeply rooted in India's heritage, and your perspective on the evolution of educational quality from the past to the future is truly appreciated. We are so glad that you highlighted that quality enhancement in education is only possible through the active involvement of teachers. Their commitment and their engagement are the driving forces for meaningful reforms and advancements in the educational system. We extend our sincere gratitude to Dr. Koch for his enlightening address and groundbreaking research in the context of digital innovation and its impact on educational reforms and advancements. Sir, your focus on understanding educational innovations within complex ecosystems, the importance of policy design thinking, the shift towards partnered innovation policy making was invaluable. Through your research, where you highlighted the G10 nations' investment in AI in higher education, and also brought about the necessity of AI literacy programs in schools and in higher education, and also focusing on India's national AI plan as per the Niti Aayog 2024 was appreciable, where you mentioned that as a nation, India, Bharat stands out as one among the 10 nations with a transformative innovation policy. Thank you so much. We would like to express our collective gratitude to Dr. Khushvinder Kumarji and congratulations to you and your leadership that has brought a wonderful and the best, the pinnacle of the grade in NAC. Thank you so much that despite of your busyness and a moment of happiness, you are there to share your views with us on sustainable development, integration of research, innovation, technology, and disaster management into education. Sir, in your address, you highlighted the critical importance of integrating humanities and social sciences into STEM curricula, promoting internships with local industries, fostering community engagement, and emphasizing value-based and multidisciplinary education. You mentioned that teacher education is the nucleus of the higher education system, serving as a foundation upon which the quality and effectiveness of the entire educational ecosystems are built. And therefore, the call for empowering educators, we ensure that future generations can receive knowledge, skills, and values for societal advancement is well taken by the Council for Teachers' Professional Development. Your call to strengthen the network between schools, universities, and communities resonates strongly with the goals of sustainable educational development, and it is much appreciated. We extend our gratitude for the video-based addresses that have been contributed by Professor Dr. Gopal Krishnan Thakur sir, where he spoke on the Indian knowledge systems and its relevance to educational reforms and advancements. Certainly, the IKS and its importance in present times is undeniable, especially in context of educational reforms and advancement, as IKS is deeply rooted to India's rich heritage that offers timeless wisdom in fields of philosophy, astronomy, mathematics, medicine, environmental sustainability, and many more. And therefore, the need to integrate Indian knowledge systems into the contemporary global modern education system for a holistic learning approach is inevitable. And we take pride as Indians that our culture is so rich. Likewise, our appreciation and best wishes to Professor Dr. Iman Gad, who has sent her message to us on equitable quality education for lifelong learners and the commitment that we all have as educators towards inclusion. Thank you so much, and we really appreciate your efforts. At the end, I would like to acknowledge the organizing committee and the dedicated team at Ctpd for their tireless efforts in making this inaugural session and the next 2 days that we have a reality. Without your dedication, this would not have been possible. Special thanks here in the inaugural session to Dr. Professor Sanjay Kumarji, Professor Satyendra Gupta ji, Dr. Jugnu Khattar Bhatia, Dr. Reena Unyal Tiwari, and Dr. Sakshi Virmani Rishi. As we move forward in the next phase of the conference, we at CTPD encourage everyone to actively participate in the upcoming discussions, share knowledge, forge connections, and work upon to improve our practices in teaching and learning for a sustainable future. Thank you, all the participants and all the delegates and all our guests for being here in the inaugural session of the conference. We look forward to a productive and an engaging 2 days ahead with you all. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Professor Tanya ma'am, for proposing the vote of thanks. Dear all, let us capture the moment to be cherished forever. So I request you all to open your videos for a group photograph. I thank you all for attending our recent inaugural session. We hope you found the session valuable and experience engaging. To ensure we continue to improve and meet your expectations, we kindly ask you to take a few moments to fill out the feedback form. Your insights and suggestions are incredibly important to us and will help us shape future sessions. And with that, we conclude this remarkable inaugural session. Knowledge is a journey, not a destination. And each step brings us closer to new horizons. Thank you for your active participation and unwavering enthusiasm. Enjoy the rest of the technical sessions at the Ctpdcon-Era 2024, and may your pursuit of knowledge continues to shine bright. Finally, I request all of you to raise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you all the distinguished guests, participants, and officials. So this inaugural session comes to an end. Please don't leave before filling up the feedback form. We have the next technical sessions starting at 2. So you all are requested to join at 1:30. And after that, the technical sessions are at 5. You can join by 4:30.
Thank you, ma'am.
So thank you, everyone. I hope everyone is filling the feedback form, and it's an invitation to our distinguished guests of the inaugural session. We'll be very happy that you are a part of us in the varied technical sessions that have been organized in the next 2 days. And we also look forward to your esteemed presence during the valedictory session, that is tomorrow from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I guess if everyone has filled the feedback form, we can close the meeting if that is fine. Thank you, Professor Kaur ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I shall share the photographs and the memento on email.
Thank you.